This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter, welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And man, what a birthday boy it was. When I talked about things on on this day, I talked about the 92 Denmark team. This player also has a connection with 92. He was drafted in 1992. That's right, you can probably guess by who's on the picture. But basically, he used to be a massive shortstop for the New York Yankees. The Yankees were not really known for having strong shortstops, except for Tony Lasseri and Phil Rizzuto. The shortstop position was usually the Yankees' biggest mistakes. When you look at an all-time team, the catcher would be probably Yogi Berra, first base would probably be Luke Gehrig, second base would also be a bad thing, but Billy Martin or Bobby Richardson. Third base, probably Greg Nettles, if you figured that out. Or Chambliss. Shortstop would be, well, whoever. And then left, right, and center would be a massive debate. But anyway, Derek Jeter made the Baseball Hall of Fame his first year of eligibility in 2020. Only one person did not put him on the ballot. I guess probably thinking that everyone else was going to put Jeter on the ballot. Anyway, he's been the CEO and part owner of the Miami Marlins since 2017. And he's done a decent job in a sense. As a player, Jeter spent his entire 20-year career with the Yankees. So, yeah, 5-time World Series champion. He's the all-time Yankee leader in hits with over 3,400 doubles, games played, stolen bases, which is weird, plate appearances, and at-bats. He's been to 14 All-Star games, 5 Gold Glove awards. I don't think he won MVP, did he? I don't think he did. Wow. I thought he did. Yeah, I thought he won an MVP award. But anyway, yeah. Jeter was the 28th player to reach 3,000 hits and finished his career number 6 in MLB history in hits and most among shortstops. Yeah, he didn't win a regular season MVP in his 20-year career. Wow. He went to one World Series MVP. He won one World Series MVP in 2000, but man, can you believe it? Not too good. So anyway, the Yankees knew he was special. How special? They decided to draft him out of high school in 1992 when the going got hot, in a sense. So yeah, that was huge. He became the Yankees starting shortstop in the 96 season, won the Rookie of the Year, and helped the team win the 96 World Series. So that was huge. He knew he had a lot of power and greatness. So anyway, Jeter got All-Star Game and World Series MVP awards in 2000, but never the regular season. He was named team captain of the Yankees from 2003 until his retirement in 2014. Hard to believe it's been 7 years since he's retired. He holds many postseason records, and his batting average in the World Series made him Captain Clutch / Mr. November. So anyway, Jeter was born in New Jersey, product of a mixed marriage. His mother's white and his father's black. Houston actually had a chance to pick Jeter first overall in the 92 draft. Houston had a chance to, but fearing that Jeter would insist on a massive salary bonus to forego college. He could have played for the University of Michigan. They decided to go with Phil Nevin from Cal State Fullerton. It wasn't a bad deal. Phil Nevin was a decent player, but for the Padres. Hal Newhouser, who was actually a scout for the Astros, actually quit his job because the Astros didn't select him. The Yankees actually picked them 6th. I'm just wondering who else. Like Houston got the first pick, but basically, it's like, who else did they pass on? Cleveland went with Paul Shuey. They went with that guy. Montreal screwed up and went with B.J. Wallace from Mississippi State. Jeez, Montreal, you could have had Derek Jeter. Baltimore had Jeffrey Hammonds in the draft. Not a bad pick. But since he went with Chad Motola, and then the Yankees went with Derek Jeter. Boy, I bet Cleveland, Montreal, Baltimore, and Cincy would like to have their picks back. So anyway, the Yankees rated Jeter very highly. So yeah, it was weird and all that. So Jeter would play in minor league baseball, not going to the the college ranks and all that. Jeter had some problems. Unfortunately, he would also have problems financially as he made lots of phone calls to his daily calls to his parents. Jeter basically didn't do that well in the first year in the minor leagues. However, he focused his offseason on his fielding. And Baseball America gave him a good prospects list. So basically, he went up the ladder. He was the fourth best prospect in baseball by Baseball America heading into the 95 season. So basically, Jeter looked huge and all that. Jeter was not made to be the starting shortstop for the Yankees. That was Tony Fernandez's job. Thanks a lot, Fernandez. Pat Kelly was also injured, so Jeter had to make his MLB debut and was given the number 2 uniform and all that. In his first game, he batted ninth and would go 0 for 5. However, he would score his first 2 major league hits and runs the next game. Jeter did okay and all that. He played 13 games before being demoted to AAA Columbus for Fernandez to play shortstop. Jeter was not on the active roster for the Yankees against the Mariners in the ALDS. They could have used him, though, too, but the Yankees lost to the Mariners in 5 games. Fernandez was a disappointment, to say the least, and newly hired Yankees manager Joe Torre said that Jeter should be shortstop for the 96 season. Steinbrenner was actually skeptical of younger players and all that. Steinbrenner actually had a chance to pick up the shortstop position. He approved a trade that would send Mariano Rivera to the Mariners for Felix Furman, a shortstop. But basically, Gene Michael and Brian Cashman said that Steinbrenner should give Jeter an opportunity. Of course, Steinbrenner was known for not giving younger players a chance. And Steinbrenner basically was convinced to give Jeter a chance. Jeter was the first Yankee shortstop as a rookie, starting shortstop as a rookie since Tom Tresh in 1962. He would hit a home run at Cleveland's Jacobs Field. Basically, he looked good. He knew the hit and run and all that. He exceeded a lot of expectations, especially Steinbrenner's. He was the unanimous AL Rookie of the Year. And Jeter was made to be the leadoff guy in the postseason. In Game 1 of the LCS, he hit a fly ball to right field that looked like Baltimore's Tony Tarasco was going to catch it, but it was deflected in stands by 12-year-old Jeffrey Meyer. The ball should have been caught by Tarasco, or at least bounced off the wall, but basically that was and it was really a home run. The Yankees would end up beating the Orioles in 5 games of the LCS, and the Yankee Stadium put the yellow bar to prevent fans from trying to deflect balls into the stands. Jeter did pretty well, batting .361 in the postseason, giving the Yankees their first World Series in 18 years. Basically, he was part of the new crop of shortstop alongside A-Rod and Nomar Garcia-Parra. Jeter became the Yankees' leadoff batter and did pretty well. The Yankees did fall in the LDS to Cleveland in 5 games. Jeter was selected in '98 for his first All-Star game and basically took third in the MVP voting, which was probably his best performance in the voting, which was terrible. So anyway, Jeter took off like a shot. 20 years ago, he was 1 of the 5 best players in baseball. He was the 4th best prospect in baseball by Baseball America heading into the 95 season. So basically, he was part of the new crop of shortstop alongside A-Rod and Nomar Garcia-Parra. Jeter became the Yankees' leadoff batter and did pretty well. The Yankees did fall in the LDS to Cleveland in 5 games. Jeter was selected in '98 for his first All-Star game and basically took third in the MVP voting, which was probably his best performance in the voting, which was terrible. So anyway, Jeter In 99, he became the first shortstop since Lynn Larry in 1931 to drive in over 100 RBIs. Jeter won another title, his third. The Yankees gave him they were tentatively agreeing to a 7-year, $118 million contract. But Steinbrenner didn't want to set the record for a longest contract. Juan Gonzalez in Detroit was trying to get an 8-year extension. And all that. But anyway, Jeter would get a 1-year deal worth $10 million, and he was worth every penny. He batted .339 in the regular season, 15 home runs, 73 RBIs. Basically, he helped the Yankees do well and got them to the World Series, where they beat the New York Mets. He had a World Series hitting streak of 14 games, which is not easy to do. Jeter became the only player to win the All-Star Game MVP and World Series MVP in the same season. Jeter would sign a 10-year, $189 million contract to stay with the Yankees. A-Rod would sign a 10-year, $252 million contract with Texas. Jeter actually became the second highest paid athlete across all team sports, behind A-Rod and all that. Jeter in 2001 would also produce a great season and all that. However, let's not forget that Jeter made a few key defensive plays in the 2001 postseason to help the Yankees out. Yankees lost games 1 and 2 on home turf in the LDS against the A's. And then there Jeter did a smart play in Game 3 in Oakland. Terrence Long hit a nice pitch into the right field corner. Jeremy Giambi decided to go towards home plate. Shane Spencer threw the ball and made a bad throw that missed the cutoff man. Jeter instinctively ran from his shortstop position to grab the ball and flipped it to Jorge Posada, who tagged Giambi out and preserving the Yankees' 1-run lead. The Yankees would win games 4 and 5 also. And Game 5 is when he leapt into the stands and all that. It was amazing and all that. Of course, the Yankees would then go to the World Series against the Diamondbacks, and everyone wanted the Yankees to win their 4th straight title, especially with the city of New York being hurt by the 9/11 attacks. So anyway, Game 4 was the first time that a game was held in November, and on the stroke of midnight, Derek Jeter was up against Byung-Hyun Kim. And basically, he flashed a home run to right field. And, he was Mr. November. It was weird that one guy actually had to sign Mr. November, and then, it was perfect. Unfortunately, Jeter would bat only 148 in the World Series, as the Yankees would lose in Game 7. But unfortunately, Jeter started getting injury problems, especially in 2003 when he collided with Blue Jays catcher Ken Huckabee. He had to be on the DL for 6 weeks, all that. He actually ended up 3rd in batting average in the American League, though. Jeter was named captain of the Yankees in 2003, so good for him. Jeter, of course, tried his best to help the Yankees win the 2003 World Series, but those pesky Marlins. And then, weird as it sounded, the Yankees decided to get A-Rod from the Texas Rangers. It's like, what? You already have a shortstop, Derek Jeter. A-Rod moved to third base because he didn't want to take the shortstop away from Derek Jeter. And, Jeter was pretty good and all that. Jeter would be the leadoff batter for the Yankees until 2006 when Johnny Damon was signed by the Yankees. That didn't go over too well in Boston, I tell you that much. Jeter ended up finishing 2nd in the 2006 MVP voting to Justin Morneau. I know that technically I should be happy Morneau won the award because he's a Canadian. I think Jeter deserved it in a sense. It was his 6th top 10 finish in the MVP balloting in his 11 full seasons, and he never won one. That was kind of pathetic, don't you think? Near the end of the 2008 season, the Yankees were going to move from their old Yankee Stadium to new Yankee Stadium. And just before that happened, Jeter broke the record for most hits at Yankee Stadium, held by Lou Gehrig, with a home run off Gavin Floyd of the White Sox. So Jeter was put back to leadoff spot in 2009, and Damon was number 2 and all that. Jeter in 2009 became the all-time hits leader as a member of the Yankee, over 2,700, passing Lou Gehrig with a single off Chris Tillman. He would do pretty well in the World Series, batting .407 in the 2009 World Series, getting his 5th World Series ring. He was actually named the Sportsman of the Year by the Sports Illustrated in 2009. Basically, he was part of the core 4 with Pettit, Posada, and Rivera. They all were kind of in the Yankee system together and up in the minors together. In fact, Jeter, Posada, and Rivera in 2010 became the first trio of teammates in any of the Big 4 sports leagues, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, to play in 16 straight seasons on the same team as teammates. While Jeter, Posada, and Rivera never played for another team other than the Yankees. That was amazing. Jeter didn't really have a lot of things going for him, but he was made the shortstop starter at the All-Star game in 2010 and actually made adjustments to his swing. That was pretty good. Jeter was actually a free agent after the 2010 season. But he re-signed with the Yankees anyway. He had a massive calf injury in 2011 that required his 5th all-time stint on the DL, but his first since 2003. So, yeah. However, in 2011, he had a great game because July 9th, he got his 3,000th hit, a home run off David Price. He was 5 for 5. He got a 5 for 5 day as he was the second player to have 5 hits on the day he hit number 3,000. That was Craig Biggio a couple years earlier. He became the second player to hit a home run for his 3,000th hit, Wade Boggs doing so in 99. And basically, he's the only player in history to hit the 3,000 hit club as a Yankee, and the second shortstop behind Honus Wagner. Jeter was the 4th youngest to get his 3,000th hit, only behind Ty Cobb, Hank Aaron, and Robin Yount. Jeter decided not to play in the All-Star game because he was stressed out, in a sense. Jeter would play game number 2,402 with the Yankees in 2011, breaking Mickey Mantle's record for most games played by a Yankee. Jeter seemed to be hot and all that. And actually finished the 2012 season with the most hits, 216, which was pretty good and all that. And that year, in 2012, he actually ended up moving to the top 10 on the all-time hits list, passing Willie Mays. Unfortunately, Derek Jeter had a left ankle injury in the 2012 LDS, and he was expected to recover after 4 and 5 months. Jeter had to begin the 2013 season in the DL because he suffered a small crack in the area of his ankle fracture. July 11th, he would be activated, but then he had to go back on the DL with a quad strain. But he was back July 28th. So basically, he only played 17 games due to a myriad of injuries. Jeter would resign to a 1-year contract in 2014, and he basically said that he would retire. He was elected to be shortstop of the All-Star game in 2014 and batted leadoff for the AL. Went 2 for 2, scored a run, and got some standing ovations. The 2014 season was huge because Jeter broke Omar Vizquel's record for most games started at shortstop at over 2,600. And he beat Gehrig's record for most doubles by a Yankee. So it was amazing, all that. Jeter's final home game was against the Baltimore Orioles. He came up with a few runners on base, and he hit a walk-off single to win 6-5. Jeter said he would play DH in the final series of his career in Boston and all that. In his final at bat, he hit an RBI single before being substituted for a pinch runner. And the Red Sox fans gave him a massive ovation and all that. Everyone figured Jeter was one of the most consistent baseball players of all time. And Jeter said he was highly competitive, basically saying, if you're going to play at all, you're out to win. Baseball, board games, Jeopardy, I hate to lose. Kind of nice and all that. Jeter had a signature inside-out swing called the Jeter swing. And basically, his swing would take advantage of Yankee Stadium's right field fences. All that. Jeter has a lot of professionalism. In an age which pro athletes find themselves in scandals, he basically avoided major controversy and all that. His postseason performance is second to none. I mean, like, huge. He only missed the playoffs 3 times in his career with the Yankees. He holds postseason records in baseball for most games, 158. At bat, 650. Hits, 200. Singles, doubles, triples, runs scored, total bases, and strikeouts. Jeter's only won 5 Gold Glove awards, which is kind of low, don't you think? Although that is 6th on the all-time list for most Gold Gloves by shortstop, behind Fiscal, Ozzie Smith, Luis Aparicio, Dave Concepcion, and Mark Belanger. A lot of people said that Jeter's defense was why he wasn't so superstar. But basically, Jeter had a lot of criticism against him. But he said he plays in New York. Criticism is part of the game. You take criticism as a challenge. So anyway, Jeter with a personal life and all that. Jeter had a relationship with Mariah Carey for a few years. And Jeter dated a lot of people, including Vanessa Manello and Jessica Biel. But he married model Hannah Davis in 2016. They have 2 kids, both daughters. So anyway, he has a lot of business interests. He's part of Rockefeller Capital Management. And he is part owner of the Miami Marlins and all that. Jeter only owns 4% of the franchise, and he's the chief executive officer of the team. He would create the Turn 2 Foundation to try to help children and teenagers avoid drug and alcohol addiction. He got an honorary doctorate from Siena for that. Jeter donated a lot of things, including items to survivors of the Tohoku earthquake, tsunami, and to Hurricane Irma. He's been a lot of endorsements and all that. He was actually the second highest paid endorser in baseball, behind Ichiro Suzuki. Here's the funny thing. Derek Jeter actually was in a Seinfeld episode. That's right. He was in the episode called The Abstinence, when George actually learns that if his mind's free from thinking about sex and all that, he's better. George gives a very huge pep talk to Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams about hitting and all that, the quadratical equations and all that. It's very amazing and all that. Let me see if I can find the clip. I don't know if they'll let me to play the audio. Actually, I'm going to hold off. Anyway, Derek Jeter made his appearance on many video game covers. 2K5, 2K6, and 2K7. Well, I have MLB 2K6 because that's the one that has the World Baseball Classic on it. The only one that has World Baseball Classic on it. Pissing me off, of course, because I like doing the World Baseball Classic stuff. And I think that's the only time. Yeah. For the first time, the contest is included in the saga and all that. Because they didn't do it for 2K9, or did they? So, yeah. So, that kind of ticked me off that MLB 2K9 didn't even have the World Baseball Classic. Even for the PS2 version, it would have been decent. And of course, Derek Jeter was the face of many All-Star baseball games, like 2K5, like '05, the one I'm playing right now, in my Ottawa franchise. Basically, yeah, I have 2 baseball games that have Derek Jeter on the cover. Pretty amazing, don't you think? Anyway, yeah. So, Jeter was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. This is his first year of eligibility. 14-time All-Star, 5 Gold Gloves, all went after 2004 and after. Wow. Um, yeah, no MVP awards. That kind of pisses me off in a sense. So yeah, it was not nice, but anyway, Derek Jeter is an icon and can't be denied, no matter how hard you try. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.